All right, first thing I want you to write down today is comfort, acceptance, and assurance. Comfort, acceptance, and assurance are life's rewards that the average person, all right, now for those of you who are new to this group, you're going to hear me say a lot. I'm going to focus a lot on the difference between being average and being extraordinary. And one of my goals, one of my missions is to help you make a transition in your lives from average to extraordinary. So pay really close attention. You're going to hear me say this a lot too, to words, because words matter. Everything we say matters. And this one sentence has so much meaning in it. Comfort, acceptance, and assurance are life's rewards that the average person demands immediately. You know, think about just that one sentence. And for those of you who still have your grandparents in your lives, ask them what life was like when they were your age. Ask them if this whole thing that's going on in our world today, especially in the United States, where comfort, acceptance, and assurance are life's rewards that the average person demands immediately. I think you're going to hear a much different story than the story you're living right now. The extraordinary achiever, however, chooses to work without any of them for a time in order that his or her family might enjoy vast helpings of all three for generations. What are you willing to do in order to live an extraordinary life? You know, if I'm asking a question, I would just simply ask myself, what am I willing to do in order to live an extraordinary life? Maybe another question, possibly a better question, is what am I not willing to do? And then why? Why am I not willing to do that? And I can tell you there's been many times in my life where I've made decisions based on what I'm currently doing is not good enough. I'm living a good life. I'm living a comfortable life. I'm doing okay, but I'm not doing as well as I could. And therefore, I'm going to make an extraordinary change, and it's going to involve sacrifice in order to live the life that I know I was made to live. In other words, comfort. For me, I'm like you. I want to live a comfortable life. However, sacrificing extraordinary for comfort is not something that I'm willing to do. Why do so few people truly realize extraordinary results? And when I say so few people, you know, look at the people in your life. You know, if you drew a picture and you put a little stick figure with you in the center of that picture, and then you made a list of everybody around you, starting with the people that you spend the most time with, work associates that you spend the most time with, people that you follow who follow you. Are they living extraordinary lives? And how do we define that? Are they living the best life they could possibly live? Or have they settled for comfort, for average? And no judgment, it's okay if it's okay with them. The question is it okay with you? Why do so few people truly realize extraordinary results? Well, I think one of the reasons is because so few people are willing to live in pain for a short term, or maybe for a long time, in order to realize the life that they were born to live. I think another reason that so few people realize extraordinary results is because the picture that they have of themselves. In other words, how they look at themselves. Do they see themselves as someone who deserves to live an extraordinary life? Do I have the gifts to live an extraordinary life? If I'm talking real estate, do I have what it takes to be one of the best real estate agents in the United States? And not that it's a competition. If you read my Facebook post yesterday, and if you didn't, please go read it. It really has nothing to do with who's on top, who's king of the mountain, who's king of the hill. What it has everything to do with more of you realizing the lives that you were born to live. And my biggest challenge in real estate is that when you look at the real estate ecosystem, and you consider there's 1.5 million real estate agents that are members of NAR. Let's just average that out at 1 million, because that's probably where it's heading anyways with a shift. Well, the top 1% would be 10,000, which means 10,000 out of 1 million agents are having extraordinary results. I mean, they're mega agents making really good money and doing really, really well. And then you take the next 19% who are successful, they're productive, they're profitable, they're living really good lives. And then you look at the bottom 80%. And for the most part, that bottom 80% is just struggling to survive. And one of the reasons that I do what I do, one of the reasons that I follow the path that I followed, and one of the reasons I've made the decisions that I've made, is because that's not okay with me. It's not okay with me that 80% of our real estate community is struggling to survive. And my vision, and Simon Sinek in the Infinite Game calls it your just cause. My just cause is that all of us, all of you, would double, triple, quadruple your business in order to be in that group that is successful and productive. In other words, my one thing is to double the number of agents who are productive and profitable. And that's it. Now, it's a big goal. Ultimately, it's unachievable, because ultimately, for me to achieve the goal that I want to achieve, all of us, all of you, have to be in that top 20%. And it's not possible for everybody to be in the top 20%. That's unrealistic. Well, that's the whole idea behind a just cause. It has to be unrealistic. And why do so few people truly realize extraordinary results? These are questions that you should just write down, spend some time in your journal, and ask them for yourself. The next point that I have that I want to share with you is everybody wants to make a difference, but almost nobody is willing to be different. Everybody wants to make a difference, but almost no one is willing to be different. Think back to when you were teenagers. If I were talking to you as a teenager, or if I were talking to your children as teenagers, and I asked them, what do you want most in life? Their answer would be to fit in, to be like everyone else. And as adults, a lot of us are still thinking that way, to fit in, to be like everyone else. In other words, so few of us are willing to be different. However, to truly live an extraordinary life, you have to be willing to do what's different. What does that look like? What does being different look like? Well, one of the things would be, I have a standard. My standard is non-negotiable. My standard is, in order to build my real estate business, I am going to commit to 20 conversations a day and 1 appointment booked every day. And I'm not going to stop until I do. Well, that would make me really, really different, because so few people are doing that. However, if you lived 2023 and you worked 50 weeks, 5 days a week, 250 days, and every single day you lived to that standard, well, number one, you would be different. And number two, you would have extraordinary results. Now, what most people do is they look around at everybody around them, and they compare themselves to those people, and they're like, I'm doing okay. I'm doing better than this person or that person, or I'm above average. So therefore, I'm doing okay. In other words, go right back to comfort, acceptance, and assurance are life's rewards that the average person demands immediately. Well, they're living that, and they settle for that. They settle for good when great is still an option. And Jim Collins wrote Good to Great, and the whole concept behind that book is what makes it one of the best business books ever written. And one of the questions he asked in that book is, why are there so few great companies? And the answer is because there's so many good companies. Why are there so few great restaurants? Because there's so many good ones. Why are so few people living great lives? Because there's so many living good lives. The next point that I have for you is most of us reach and maintain a level of average that aligns rather closely to the achievement of our peers. All right, this takes me back to what I was talking about just a moment ago, and I want you to do a little exercise. I want you to take a piece of paper, and in the center of the paper, I want you to write your name, and then I want you to, around that circle, I want you to make a list of the 10 people, not including family, 10 people outside your family, business associates or friends that you spend the most time with. Now, if you were to take a poll of those people and ask them, how many books do you read a year? How much time do you spend every day in personal growth? Is personal growth even important to you? Do you write in a journal every day? If you do, what do you write about? What classes are you attending? What are you doing in order to get better? If you ask them, how much money do you make? How much money do you have saved? How much money have you invested in the last 12 months? Here's what you're going to find. The 10 people that you spend the most time with are the average of you. Now, is that good or bad? I don't know. But one of the ways I know that we can grow is find a better tribe. If you want to make $1 million a year, hang out with people who are making $10 million a year. If you want to be a millionaire, hang out with billionaires. If you want to be somebody who is giving back to the community, here's a challenge for you. And this is one of the things that really, really bothers me about the real estate industry. The American dream is to own a home. Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Justin. It's always nice when you guys talk, because otherwise I think
Yes.
to myself.
Yes, it is. 100%.
All right, Mary Lou, I've got another question for you.
Okay.
If the American dream is to own a home, why are so many people homeless?
Ugh.
Now-
Lack of drive.
Here's the next question. Could we do something about that?
Yes.
We could. You think about the people who are the most successful, they have the most opportunity to make a difference with this. If every single real estate agent, I'm just going to pick a number, by the way, this is coming from picking a number from the air. Okay. There's no judgment here. But if the top 1% represents 10 real estate agents, and it does, if there's 1 million real estate agents, and the top 1% are selling 75 plus homes a year at an average commission of $10,000, then that means the top 1% is earning over $750,000 a year. Now, if every single one of them, 10,000, made a commitment to help one family get off the streets every year and live in a home, to have a roof over their head, to have beds for their children to sleep in, we would be impacting 10,000 lives of homeless people every year. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. And are we doing that?
No.
The answer is no. And this is not to pick on any particular company, because some of you think some of you are going to think it is, but it's not. It's just from my experience. Every year I would visit Austin, Texas several times a year, because that's where the real estate company corporate headquarters were. And I would visit Austin, Texas, and I did that for 20 years. And here's one of the things I noticed over those 20 years. There were homeless people 20 years ago. The number of homeless people as you walk through the city of Austin, Texas, has grown by, I don't know, 1,000%, 2,000%. They're everywhere. You can't go for a walk without seeing several people living on the street. And yet the most successful real estate company in the world is in Austin, Texas. Can't we do something about that? I think we can. And I think that the reason we're not is because it's different, because nobody else is. But what if we started? Could we make a difference? The answer is yes. Now, here's the other thing. Just because I am focusing on the top 1% right now doesn't mean the other 99% can't make a difference. If every single real estate agent, knowing that the American dream is to own a home, if every single real estate agent in the United States decided to take just $10 and donate that money to a fund that was created to help people get off the street, we would make a massive difference in our country when it comes to homeless people. Why aren't we? Most of us reach and maintain a level of average that aligns rather closely to the achievement of our peers. We can make a difference when we decide to become the difference. You want to get better? Hang out with better people. You want to get better? Do better things. Average people compare themselves with other people. That is why they are average. The other question I want you to write down, put this in your journal, take some time to think about it, is who are you comparing yourself to? Now, I've lived my entire life as someone who compares themselves to other people. And I've always had a lot of other people to compare myself to. Most of my adult career has been in sales. So am I the top salesperson in my company? Am I top in the industry? Am I top in the country? Am I? And for the first time in my life, I don't have anybody to compare myself to, which forces me to compare myself to myself. Am I living the best life that I can live? Well, the answer is no, I'm not. And I'm not okay with that. You shouldn't be either, by the way. The next point that I have for you is extraordinary achievers do not compare themselves to other people.
Yeah.
In other words, if they're not doing it, I shouldn't do it, or I don't need to do it because nobody else is doing it. I'm doing okay because I'm doing the same thing that everybody else is. Could you do more? The extraordinary achievers do not compare themselves to other people. Instead, they compare themselves to their own potential. They don't compare themselves to other people. They compare themselves to other people and what might their potential be? What might your potential be? Whatever you choose for it to be. Because when you take time to actually go through this exercise and answer these questions, there's this voice inside of your head. It's negative self-talk that is going to tell you that's not possible. See, most people live their lives focusing on what is. And what is a horrible question. A much better question is, what if? What can be? What could you do? Where are you in that group? Let's look at those real estate agents again. You know, and I drew a triangle on the Facebook post and I said, okay, we got the top 1%, we got the middle 19%, and we have the bottom 80%. And the question is, where are you in this conversation? And then the next question is, where do you want to be? And then the next question is, what are you willing to do in order to get where you want to go? And I'm gonna end the way I started. The purpose of this group, the reason I show up every day to speak with you, is to encourage more of you, to equip more of you with the skills and tools that you need in order to live your extraordinary lives. I think that's why we should be in business. I think if I own a real estate company, I have an obligation to the people who are a part of my organization to get everybody, not just some of them, everybody into those top two groups. I'm not going to stop until I do. And yet real estate companies are so focused on who's king of the hill that they forget about the 80% that are struggling just to survive. And again, I'm not being critical of any one company. I said real estate companies, which means all of them. And I'm here to get that 80% into production so they can live the life that they want to live, so that when they got their real estate license, you had a vision. I know you did, because I was just like you. You had a vision of what your life was going to look like as a real estate agent, and that vision didn't include struggling just to pay your bills. That vision was to sell a lot of homes, make money, support your families, and live the lives that you deserve to live. And my cause is I won't stop until every single one of you are doing that. And then I'm going to challenge you. When you become that person, make a difference to other people. All right, take yourself off mute. Talk to me, guys. Raise your hand.